Matric pupils will have to keep calm and focused as they count down the weeks to their final exams. For some advice on how to deal with the fear and anxiety and regain focus, we are joined by clinical and educational psychologist Dr. Ian Opperman via Skype. Dr. Opperman, thanks for your time. Let's begin with stress and anxiety. Those two emotions, I imagine, do something to the brain, especially at a critical time like this. How do we regain focus so that we optimally use our brains at a time like this?
Michael, depression and anxiety is a huge issue amongst learners and scholars these days and students of all ages. And of course, during matric exams, like any other exam, there's a huge increase of anxiety. And one of the best ways to deal with increased anxiety is, of course, to prepare very well. If you are prepared for the battle that you enter into, you feel confident about your skills, you've worked with past exam papers, you've worked throughout the year, then there's no reason really to be anxious. And also you can tell yourself, I am well prepared. There's no reason for me to be anxious about that. I say to students, when you get to grade 12, you have passed 11 other grades before this. It's not your first exam. It's probably not going to be your last exam that you're going to have in your life. So it's just another exam. And unfortunately, a huge issue is being made about it because it's being published in the press, etc., the exam results. But it's no different to any other exam you've done prior to this one.
So how should a matriculant be approaching these examinations? Must it be looked at as the most important few weeks of your life up until now? Or, as you're saying, don't make such a massive deal out of it. Realize that there will be other opportunities should you not do as well as you hope this time around.
I say approach it like another exam, although it's an important exam because those marks are going to help you get into university programs potentially and other programs that you would like to join. So it is an important exam, but the more you tell yourself that and the more you frighten yourself, with higher exam stress, there's also an increase in suicidality and feelings about depression at that time. So make a fuss about it, but not so big a fuss that it paralyzes you.
I'm interested with that last comment you just said. Are you in favor of the publication of matric results?
I am, because I think it's such a, it's a symbolic finalization of 12 years of effort and of what you've done. But of course you get children who battle with the results and the making public. And of course the names are not against it, but people come and ask you, children go to schools at the end of when the results are released. It's a huge issue on that day. People come up to you and say, "Have you passed? How well have you done?" So there's a public. Although your name is not against it, it is a public thing. But if children were to fail or not do so well in the exams, there are other alternatives. It is. I always say to a student that sees me in practice, and I say to him or her, if you look back on this thing in 5 years' time and it's still important to you, it's important. In 5 years' time, what you got for your matric result is not going to be the end of your life.
What should parents be doing and saying at such a crucial time? Because very often pressure comes from the top. Parents want their children to do well, but that can sometimes stifle a child or put perhaps undue pressure on them. What should parents be doing to make this journey as simple and as easy as possible?
Look, I think parents can only do their best. There's a fine line between motivating your child, getting them to do well, performing well, and putting so much undue pressure on them that ultimately you sit with other side effects like psychological depression, anxiety, all those effects that happens for children. So there's a fine balance again, like life. Everything in life has a balance. There's a place where you put too little emphasis on the thing, you put too much emphasis, and somewhere in the middle there's a magic space where parents can just be supportive of their children, help them, give them fresh fruits to eat, bring them water, give them not too much coffee. It's a stimulant. It's not too much of it. It's not good for you. But there's this place somewhere where there's enough support. And if the child has not worked up to now, to start nagging them in the last few months prior to the exam, perhaps it'll bring magic. But the child should now understand that from here on, once they're 18, 19, going into the big life out there, from now on, they've got to be self-disciplined. There's not going to be a parent or a teacher standing over your shoulder watching you, because once you go to university or other tertiary education study places, nobody's going to worry about how much work you do or not. So it's self-discipline that has to be acquired by this stage.